Let's be honest. For millions of us, math isn't just a subject. It's a stupid button. It's that feeling. The one where you're in a meeting and someone starts talking about percentage point growth and your brain just fogs over. It's that moment you look at a block of code or a financial report and a quiet voice in the back of your head whispers, "You're not smart enough for this." You can be an artist, a writer, a brilliant manager, a charismatic leader. But the second that X's and Y's appear, you feel like a fraud. You feel dumb. What if that feeling, that core belief that you are simply not a math person, is the single biggest lie you've ever been told? The problem isn't your brain. The problem is that you've been trying to learn a language by memorizing a dictionary. You've been given the wrong tools, measured by the wrong metrics, and then blamed when the system failed you. This video is not a collection of study hacks. This is a deconstruction. We are going to expose the 3 reasons math is designed to make you feel stupid, and then we are going to give you a 5-step practical framework to tear that feeling down and learn any concept for good. This is not for math people. This is for everyone who has ever felt dumb. This is how you rewire your brain and reclaim the part of your intelligence that math tried to take from you. Before we can learn, we have to unlearn. You don't have a math problem, you have a trauma problem. And that trauma was likely built on 3 specific failures of the system. First, the system confuses speed with intelligence. Think back to school, the mad minutes tests, the teacher calling on students. Who was the smart kid? The one who shot their hand up first. Math is taught like a competitive sprint. But real mathematics, real problem solving, is not a sprint. It's a marathon. It's a deep, slow, methodical process of exploration. The world's greatest mathematicians, like Grigori Perelman, who solved the Poincaré conjecture, spent years in quiet isolation, slowly working through a single problem. But you weren't taught that. You were taught that being fast equals being smart, and being slow equals being dumb. So the moment you needed time to think, you labeled yourself as dumb and mentally checked out. You didn't fail math. The metric of speed failed you. Second, the system teaches memorization, not intuition. You were handed formulas. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. The quadratic formula, the area of a circle. You were told to memorize what to do, but almost never why you were doing it. This is like learning to say, "Where is the bathroom?" in French, without knowing what the individual words where, is, or bathroom mean. It works for one specific situation, but the second you're asked, "Where is the library?" you're completely lost. Your brain is a logic processor, and it's built to reject information that doesn't make sense. When you were forced to memorize abstract rules without a logical foundation, your brain did exactly what it was supposed to do. It dumped the information. You didn't fail because you were dumb. You failed because you were smart enough to reject meaningless data. Third, the system punishes failure. In math, you get a big red X. You get a 60 out of 100. You are wrong. But in the real world, failure is just data. When you learn to walk, you fall down. That's not a failure. It's your brain running an experiment, getting feedback, and adjusting the variables. Mistakes are the only way to learn. Every time you get a problem wrong and then understand why it was wrong, you build a stronger, more permanent neural connection. But the school system teaches you to be afraid of that red X. So instead of exploring and making mistakes, you learned to be passive. You learned to wait for the teacher to give you the answer, just to avoid the pain of being wrong. You aren't bad at math. You were just trained to be a bad learner of it. You were trained to value speed over depth, memorization over intuition, and perfection over progress. We are about to reverse all of that. Here is the single most important mindset shift you must make. Math is not an abstract measure of raw intelligence. Math is a language. That's it. It's a language, just like English, Spanish, or Japanese. It's a very specific, logical language used to describe patterns, quantities, and relationships in the universe. And just like any language, it has vocabulary, numbers, operators like plus, minus, grammar, the order of operations, PEMDAS, and advanced concepts like algebra and calculus. When you say, "I'm dumb at math," it's the same as saying, "I'm dumb because you can't read a Russian novel without ever having learned the Cyrillic alphabet." It's absurd. The problem is, most of us were thrown into advanced literature before we learned the alphabet. The school system has a critical design flaw. It doesn't check for foundational gaps. Maybe you kind of understood fractions in 5th grade, but not really. Maybe you got a C in pre-algebra. But then the class moved on. The teacher has a curriculum to follow. But math is not like history, where you can be fuzzy on the War of 1812 but still understand World War II. Math is a skyscraper built on cumulative knowledge. Every single concept is a brick laid upon the previous one. Arithmetic is the foundation. Algebra is the first floor. Calculus is the 20th floor. What happens when your foundation on the first floor is shaky? The 20th floor collapses. And when it does, You don't blame the shaky foundation you were forced to build on. You blame yourself. You say, I'm just not smart enough for the 20th floor. The reason you feel dumb isn't because you can't understand calculus. It's because you were never given the time to truly master fractions. So how do we fix it? How do we learn it now? You don't study. You use a system. You use a method designed for an adult brain. This is the practical, no BS framework for learning any math concept, from basic algebra to advanced statistics. It's built on neuroscience and the principles of expert learners. Stop looking at the terrifying final form of the equation. Find the single, simple question it's trying to answer. This is the first principles method. If you're learning derivatives in calculus, don't start with the dy dx formula. Start with the question, how do I find the speed of something at one single exact instant? Oh, it's just about speed. If you're learning algebra, don't start with 3x plus 5 equals 14. Start with the idea, there is a hidden number, and I need to figure out what it is. Break the scary, complex topic down until you find a simple, concrete idea you can understand. Every single complex math topic is just a bunch of simple ideas stacked on top of each other. Find the bottom one. This is where you kill the memorization beast. You must connect the what to a why. The best way for an adult brain to do this is with an analogy. Why do you have to do the same thing to both sides of an algebraic equation? Don't memorize a rule. Visualize a balance scale. The equals sign $ equals means the scale is balanced. If you add 5 pounds to one side, you must add 5 pounds to the other to keep it balanced. It's not a rule, it's just common sense. What is a negative number? It's debt. If you have $10 and you add a $50 debt, you have negative $40. What is 10 minus negative 5? It's taking away a $5 debt, which is the same as gaining $5. Never ever move on to the next step until you can explain the why of a concept in a simple non-math analogy. Watching someone else do math on YouTube is not learning. Reading the textbook is not learning. This is passive. It gives you the illusion of knowledge. The only way to learn is active recall. Take a blank piece of paper, no notes, no book, and do the problem, start to finish. You will get stuck. You will feel frustrated. You will feel dumb. This is the moment learning happens. That feeling of struggle is your brain trying to forge a new neural pathway. It's the signal of growth. When you get stuck, don't immediately look at the answer. Struggle for a minute. Then, if you must look, find the one tiny step you missed. Then, put the answer away and start the entire problem over on a new blank sheet of paper. As the physicist Richard Feynman said, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. Your goal is to be able to do the problem and explain why you are doing each step in plain English. Numbers are abstract. Your brain hates abstract. Turn the numbers into shapes, pictures, and graphs. Don't just look at the equation for a parabola, y equals x squared. Go to an online graphing calculator like Desmos. Play with it. What happens when you make it y equals 2x squared? What about y equals negative x squared? You will see the line get steeper or flip upside down. You will build a visual, intuitive understanding that is 100 times stronger than just staring at the formula. Math describes the real world, so look at the world it's describing. You finally did it. You struggled. You understood the why, and you solved the problem. You feel like a genius. Then you wake up 3 days later and you've forgotten everything. This is the Ebbinghaus forgetting curve. It's normal. It's how your brain works. To signal to your brain that this information is important, you must use spaced repetition. Don't study for 5 hours on one night. Study for 1 hour. Then review the same concepts for 20 minutes 2 days later, then for 10 minutes a week later. This act of almost forgetting and then forcing your brain to retrieve the information is what burns the pathway into long-term memory. This isn't studying. This is targeted, efficient brain training. The feeling of being dumb at math is not a diagnosis. It's a symptom. It's the symptom of a broken teaching system and a set of bad tools. But you're not a 14-year-old kid in a classroom anymore. You're an adult learner with a goal. You have something now that you didn't have then. You have motivation. You have a reason to learn this. And now you have a method. A bricklayer who is only given a hammer can't build a house. He's not a dumb bricklayer. He just has the wrong tools. Stop identifying with your past failures. Stop using the word dumb as an identity. It's a feeling, not a fact. Today you can start fresh. Pick one small concept. Just one. Don't look at the mountain of all of math. Just look at the first step. Find the first principle. Find the analogy. Get a blank piece of paper and expect to struggle. Welcome that struggle. It's the feeling of your brain getting stronger. It's the feeling of you getting smarter. You are not bad at math. You are not dumb. You are just a beginner. And today is the day you can finally change that. We are all about practical, no BS strategies on this channel, and we want to build a community of real learners. So in the comments below, I want you to do 2 things. First, share the one math concept that always made you feel dumb. Whether it's fractions, algebra, or something else, let's get it out in the open. Second, tell me which of the 5 steps in the framework you are going to use to attack it this week. When you share your struggle, you'll be amazed at how many other smart people feel the exact same way. And if you want more practical frameworks to master new skills and build a life of purpose, do yourself a favor. Hit the like button and subscribe to the Brain Line. It's time to get smarter together.